chat or on, okay, we are going live on Facebook.
So, ma'am. Good morning, one and all present here. Under the umbrella of Primary Wings Rainbow Art and Literature Festival, I, Rajiv Das, Cultural Head of the school, on behalf of DPS Monarch International School, Doha, take immense pride in organizing today's guest speaker session for our primary wing students. Great dancers are not great because of their technique, they're great because of their passion. It's my pleasure and privilege to introduce the guest speaker for today, Ms. Annabel Locke, a passionate ballet dancer hailing from the UK and now living in Doha. It has been quoted rightly that dance is the hidden language of the soul, and Madam Annabel Locke is the one who eloquently speaks the dance language, and it is our pride that we have her as our guest speaker today. She has trained herself at the Royal Ballet School for 7 years and gained BA degree in modern ballet at the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland and a qualified ballet teacher through the Royal Academy of Dance. And her passion is making ballet an accessible art form that can be enjoyed by everyone and anyone. Madam, I welcome you on behalf of my school and express gratitude from the depth of my heart for accepting our invitation and be the resource person today. With this, I call upon our headmistress, ma'am, Ms. Jyoti Gupta, to welcome our guest speaker.
Thank you, Rajiv Das. A very, very good afternoon to everyone. A very good afternoon to grade 5 learners who are watching this live from their classrooms. And of course, a very warm welcome, Annabel, Miss Annabel Locke, for coming to our school, of course, through Zoom. And I'm very sure soon it would also be in person. I would not take much of your time. I know there's a lot that the children want to hear. There's a lot that we are eagerly waiting to know about ballet. And interestingly, the essence of ballet is very, very important for the young children to know. And I'm sure your session will bring out a lot of beautiful things and will install a lot of good memories in each one of them. So without taking much of your time, Annabel, over to you, and welcome on behalf of DPS Monarch International School.
Thank you very much. Yes, hi everyone, it's lovely to meet you. So yes, I'm Annabel. I'm originally from the UK, and yeah, we're going to be doing a little talk about all things to do with ballet. So if anyone's done any ballet before, that's great. You might know some of the things I'm going to be talking about. But if you haven't done any ballet before, that's also absolutely fine as well. Okay, so hopefully we'll learn a little bit more. We'll leave some time at the end. So if you've got any questions that pop up throughout, you can hold on to them, and then we'll have some time. If you've got anything that you want to ask, we can look at that as well. I'm just going to share my screen, if I can, for a PowerPoint. Or could I be made the host? Is that okay? So I can share my screen. Still. Yes, I think I need to be the host in order to share. So if that's possible, if someone could pop me on as a co-host or a host, that would be great.
Annabel, we are just making you a host.
That's all right, no worries. Whilst that goes, oh, there we go. I should be able to share it now. Here we go. So let's go to the beginning. So hopefully we can all see this, but yes, we're going to be looking at our essence of ballet. So we're going to start off with just looking at what it takes to become a ballet dancer. So if anyone's done any dance before, you'll know that ballet is very tricky. It's one of the hardest styles of dance to do. And people like to say that ballet is the core of all dances. So if you've got a good, strong classical ballet technique, then you can use those skills and transfer them into other styles of dance as well. So most ballet dancers that I know of started from a very young age. So I started about 2 years old when I learned ballet. And you start very young because it takes quite a while to kind of master all of the steps and get all of your technique up and running. So you start ballet quite young. I started at 2, and then I joined a school called the Royal Ballet School in London, and I went there from 11 to 18. So what this school is, it's like your school. You do your academics, but actually you live at your school. So it's a boarding school. So what we would do is we'd wake up in the morning, we'd do our ballet class every day. And then we would have our academics. So like you would have our maths, our science, all of our subjects. And then we'd do some more ballet after school, and then we'd do our homework in the evening. So we would be living at our school, and we'd be there all during the term times, and we'd do our dancing from Monday to Saturday, and we'd get our Sundays off. We'd learn different styles of dance. So ballet was our main one. But as you know, there's lots of different styles of dance out there. So we've got things like jazz and modern and tap dancing and all different types, because like I say, ballet is kind of the core. So we use our ballet dance to make all our other styles of dancing as good as they can be. And we were also encouraged to play lots of musical instruments as well. So some of you might play some instruments like the piano or the guitar or the violin. And this helps with our musicality, because for ballet, we always dance to the music, and we want to make sure that we are aware of the music that we're listening to. So it's a very important aspect of our dancing is our music. So if anyone plays a musical instrument, you might be able to recognize different time signatures and different tempos and different styles of music, which is all important for our dancing and our ballet. We also, some other dancers that I know of, got into ballet through other activities. So one of my fellow ballet dancers started off with ice skating. And I have had some others that started off as ballroom dancers and things like that. And then they came into ballet after learning all those skills as well. So that's all the different things it can take to become a ballet dancer. Starting young, training very hard every day, 6 days a week, and trying some other styles of dancing as well. So where do the ballet dancers practice? So we practice in a ballet studio, and it's a certain type of room that you want to be in. So a ballet studio has these things, you can hopefully see them on the screen. They're called ballet bars, and they go all the way around the outside of the room. And in a ballet class, you start off with what's called our bar work. So you're holding onto the bar for a little bit of support, and you're going through all your different movements in ballet. And then afterwards, you come into the center, into the big space in the middle, and then you've got to try and do all of those things without the bar. So you've got to balance. So the bar, the idea of it is that you're imagining you're holding onto a partner. So you don't want to give too much of your weight to the bar, because your partner is going to have a really hard job of holding on to you. So you lightly hold the bar, we find our posture, and we go through our classical ballet movements. And classical ballet is all in French. So if anyone knows any French or speaks a little bit of French, you might know some of the ballet movements or able to understand them. Yeah, some of you do. I can see some hands up. So we have things like pliés, which means to bend. So we bend our knees. We have things called battement tendus, which mean to stretch. So we're stretching our legs and feet. We have some rond de jambes, which means round of the legs. So we're turning our feet and our legs outwards for ballet. So everything's going outwards. And we have things like allegro, which means to jump. So all movements in classical ballet are in French, and you learn them, you do them at the bar, and then you come into the center And you'll see there's lots of mirrors around as well, because you're always looking at yourself. You're always wanting to correct and make sure that our ballet technique is as good as it can be. So you're able to look at yourself, watch yourself dancing, and hopefully keep improving over time. They also have really high ceilings. And this is because in ballet, we do some jumps. So you don't want to be hitting your head off the roof. And there's also lots of what we call pas de deux, which again is a French word which translates to a dance for two. So this is when two dancers dance together. And during this pas de deux, there can be lifts. So one dancer can lift the other up right above their head. And again, you want room to be able to lift your partner and to jump nice and high. And the last thing about a ballet studio is the flooring. So it's a very special kind of floor. It's not like what you might get at home or what you might get in school. It's almost like a very little trampoline. So it's spongy and there's lots of layers to it. And the reason why it's a little bit spongy is because when we're doing all of those jumps and our allegro in classical ballet, you don't want to be jumping on a hard floor, because every time you land on a hard floor, you've got to think all of that shock absorption from our self-landing is going into those bones, into the feet. And if we're jumping on a hard surface over time, we'll get injuries, and we don't want any injuries. So it's a soft, squidgy floor. So when we jump, we have a little bit of trampoline bounce back to help us jump higher and absorb all that shock from our legs and feet. So what does a ballet dancer's day look like? So when you leave your school and you become a ballet dancer as your career, dancers do ballet classes 6 times per week. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, they do their ballet classes, and they're usually about 1.5 hours to 2 hours long. So it's a really long class. And during that time, they use it to get themselves warmed up. Similar, if you do any physical activity or if you do any other sports, you need to do a good warm up. So ballet dancers take about 2 hours to warm themselves up. You can see here they're holding onto their bar. They do their stretches, they do their strengthening, because you need to be both strong and flexible to do ballet. They also rehearse for about 6 hours a day. So they have really long days. And in their rehearsals, they're rehearsing different ballets. So there's ballets like Swan Lake, you might have heard of, or the Nutcracker, or there's lots and lots of different types of ballets. And they'll rehearse them during the day, and then they'll perform them at night. And some performances can be about 3 hours long. So you need to be super strong. You need to be very fit to do your ballet, but with all that exercise they do, they're always ready for their performances. So in order to be able to do all of that, ballet dancers need to have a very good diet. So they work with nutritionists and dietitians to make sure that they're eating the right kinds of food and the right amount of food. Because if you imagine you're on your feet and you're exercising 6 days a week, from maybe 8 in the morning through till 10 o'clock at night. And you've got 6 hours of rehearsals, you've got 3 hours of performances, so you need the right fuel for your body. So they have lots of little meals throughout the day, rather than one big meal, because if you go back to those jumping we were talking about that they do, or lifting up their partner, they don't want to have too much food in their tummy when they're trying to jump, so they eat little and often. They probably have about 10 meals per day. They need lots of protein. So protein's good for our muscles, to build our strength, to get those good muscles that we need to be able to do our ballet. They need carbohydrates for their energy. It takes a lot of energy to do all of those things. And then they need their fruits and vegetables to stay nice and healthy, and their dairy for their bones and their calcium. Some dancers like to eat before their performance, whereas some dancers prefer to eat after their performance, because they get nervous. Even though they do it all the time, they still get nervous when they're performing. So they prefer to some eat beforehand and some eat afterwards, but they need lots and lots of food to keep them going. Now we're going to look at a little bit about what do ballet dancers wear for class. So when they're in class, they want to stay nice and warm. And this is to, again, help reduce any risk of injuries. If you think of all the amazing movements that their bodies are doing, They want to have lovely warm muscles so that they don't pull or twinge any muscles and cause injuries. So they wear lots of layers. You can see they've got some jackets on, they've got some trousers, they have some leg warmers over here, and they start off nice and wrapped up, and then throughout the 2-hour class in the morning, when they start to get a little bit hot and sweaty, they can then start to go down into their leotards or their shorts or their trousers or their ballet tights, whatever they choose to wear for their class. Now we're going to take a little break to have a look at some point shoes. So on their feet, ballet dancers, the ladies wear what we call point shoes. So this is what a picture of a point shoe looks like. It helps them to stand right up on their toes. So inside their ballet shoes, they're just standing right on the tips of their toes. And we're going to look at a little video about how point shoes are made, because it's a very tricky process, you'll see. So let me play this. And then, so we're looking at how these shoes get made. So let me click on this and we'll bring it up. There we go. So have a watch.
The making of a Freed of London point shoe. Our maker would begin by stamping the sole with the size, their maker mark and the fitting width of the shoe. Once the correct last has been taken from the stock bins, we attach the sole to the last using a staple gun. Using the relevant sized upper, we put it over the last, pin at the toe and staple the upper at the seat of the last. Using a combination of paste, hessians and cards, we build up the block depending on the dancer's specifications. Next, we pleat the shoe tightly around the last. We then tie the shoe down, ready for us to open the sole channel before it can be stitched. Any excess material blocking the sole channel is cut. After being stitched, we remove the staples and cut the shoe down, ready for turning. Using the insole specified on the order sheet, we then paste the insole ready for insertion. We proceed to turn the shoe and put it back onto the last, performing one of the final acts of creation, known to our team as the bang out, otherwise just shaping the shoe. Using a polished hammer to actually shape the shoe, we then insert the inner sole that was previously pasted, before repeating the entire process to finalise the shape of the footwear. Depending on the order, some point shoes require the sole to be tacked down. We then write the dancers' surnames on the soles of the shoe and also stamp the date that they were made. From here, we measure the shoe to match the order form, marking out where the vamps, sides and back of the point shoe need to be cut. Once cut, the shoe is put through its first stage of binding. The second stage of binding is completing this work of art, attaching either cotton or elastic drawstrings. The binding that holds the elastic is folded inside and stitched neatly. The shoes are given one final quality check before being prepared for dispatch.
There we go. So that is how they make the point shoes for ballet. And that is a very long process for one pair of point shoes. And most ballet dancers tend to wear about one pair of point shoes might last them about one performance. So they go through one pair every 3 hours. So you can imagine how many pairs of point shoes one dancer goes through in a week. And then there could be maybe 50 dancers in that one company, and there's companies all over the world. So they go through a lot of point shoes, and that's why they all need to, they have lots of makers like the person you saw making those pairs of point shoes, and they have them all over the world so that the dancers can get their shoes. And they're all still handmade, so they need people to make them by hand because they're so individual to the dancers, so they can choose certain things about their shoes, the size and the width, the strength as well. So it takes a lot just to make one pair of point shoes, and they don't last very long. So let's have a little go. So in your seats where you are at the moment, if you want to, we're going to try a little bit of ballet. So we're just going to do it seated. We're going to look at our arms. That's it. Let me stop sharing so you can all see me. So wherever you've got some room, we're going to have a look at our arms. So in ballet, we call our arms port de bras. So it's French again, and it's called carriage of the arms. And in ballet, there's 5 main positions of the arms, okay? If anyone's done any ballet before, you might know some of them, but you're welcome to give them a go if you want to. So our first position, we lift our arms up, that's it. And we're going to have a nice and round, so a nice big round circle of the arms. And the thumbs are going to be tucked into our palms and the elbows lifted, that's it. So we're not here. So this is our first position with the arms. So our second position, we open the arms to the side. That's it. If I turn sideways, our arms are in front of us and they're out. It's like you're about to give someone a big hug. That's the idea that you want. And then to make third position, we bring one arm in front. So we have one out to the side and one arm in front. That's it, good. Then our fourth position, we bring the arm that's in front up above our head to make our fourth. Good. Then to make our final position, our fifth position, the other arm joins it above our head to make fifth. Yes, good. So let's try that again. So bringing the arms down, we have our first position. That's it. We then have our second position. Good. We have our third position, one arm in front, one arm to the side. And then our fourth position, we bring the arm up above our head. Excellent. Fifth position, reaching the other arm up. And then we open the arms and bring them all the way back around. Yes, let's try that on the other side. So we have our first, arms are lifted, elbows supported, thumbs tucked away. Our second is out to the side. Okay, now try bringing the other arm in front to our third position. Good, and then bring the arm up to our fourth position. Yes, the other arm joins in our fifth position. And then we circle the arms all the way back round to lower. Good, shake out the arms. Excellent, everyone. So that's our port de bras for our classical ballet. Yes, so have a little practice of those when you like, and you can test your memory. So you can decide, you can pair up with a friend and you can say, show me third position. They've got to remember which one's third, which one's fifth. So let's have a go at that. So if I said to you, could you all show me first position with our arms? Where's first position? Yes. Good, there. Can you all show me fifth position? Where's fifth position? Yes, excellent. Up above our heads. Now a tricky one. Can you show me third position? Which one was third? Yes, good. We've got one arm to the front, one arm to the side. Can you show me second position? Where was second? Almost, yep, both arms out to the side in our second. And can you show me fourth position? Which one was fourth? Almost, yes, we've got one arm up and one arm out to the side. That's our fourth. Excellent. All right, well remembered. Have a sit down, shake out the arms. Well done, everyone. Excellent. All right, let me go back to this. We'll just finish off our PowerPoint. So yes, you can see, I'll just let you sit down. These are those positions that we just looked at. So bra bars where we start our exercise. Our first position with those arms lifted. Our second position with the arms out to the side. We then have our third position, one arm in front, one arm out. Our fourth position when we lift that one arm above our head. And then we've got our fifth position with both arms up. So well remembered. See if you can remember those over the next few days. And I'm sure your head teacher might test your memory. All right. So now we're going to look at a few ballets which are quite famous. So you might have heard of them. If you haven't, don't worry. So there's a ballet called the Nutcracker, which is a famous story. And it usually is performed around winter time. So I've got a couple little videos to show us, which we should hopefully enjoy. So let me bring this one up to begin with. Have a little watch of this one.
Peter Darrell's production of the Nutcracker is incredibly cherished for the people of Scotland, but also particularly to this company, because it really was one of the first full-length works that Peter created for Scottish ballet. So it's great to be putting that back at the heart of the company's rep. But also for the dancers involved, there's quite a heritage there. Our principal dancer, Christopher Harrison, was one of the children in the Nutcracker when he was a young boy. We're bringing the Nutcracker back because I think it's time that we saw Peter Darrell's choreography afresh. I never saw the original production, so I've been relying heavily on the Peter Darrell Trust and the Benish notation score. Benish notation is a system of movement notation that allows the recreation of productions as they were originally intended. Going back to the Benish notation allows us to revisit what the original intention was. I've really enjoyed working with Les Brotherston, our designer, because he brings to every production he touches something fresh and imaginative. Some of the most interesting costume design, I think, has been for the party scene. It really is a rich Victoriana look. The fabrics are amazing that Les has chosen. It's going to look very sumptuous.
Because we want to keep the whole spirit of Peter Darrell's work, we have to also go with the style of costumes. So this time round, we are still in 1870, and they're all seen in these lovely big bustle dresses, and everyone is different. We've got all sorts of beautiful jewel colours with subtle shadings on them, and in dark reds and dark blues and turquoise, with lots more embellishment, lots more. And that should look absolutely stunning.
Of course, Act 2 is incredibly colourful. The costumes are really colourful. And the iconic image of all the baubles hanging still remains. But again, Les has just freshened and sharpened that image up.
There are 250 different strings, and there's something in the order of 5,500 different baubles, all of which are in exactly the right place for the design. So it's quite a project. The audience are going to be greeted by a magical land, a bright, glistening myriad of colours.
It's beautiful work. It's stunning writing for classical ballet. And I think with a new design and a new setting, I'm sure many generations to come are going to be able to enjoy it too.
There we go. So that's a little clip from the Nutcracker, so you can see some of how the costumes are for some of the ballets, and you can see some of the tutus. So these are the dresses and the skirts that the ladies wear, with the skirts sticking out. So they wear lots of tutus in their ballet, and some ballets don't wear the tutus. It depends on which ballet it is. So I think, yes, we've got a couple minutes left. So if anyone's got any questions, or if anyone's got anything they want to share towards the end, or find out anything else, a little bit more about anything else, you're welcome to ask anything that you'd like to. All right, let me stop sharing my screen and I'll bring you all up. There we go. So if anyone's got any questions or anything they want to ask, you're more than welcome to. But well done for sitting through that presentation. You all did very well, and well done with your ballet as well.
I have a question.
Yes.
Actually, how does the ballet dancer stand on their toes? Like, it's so easy.
Did you say how do they stand on their toes?
Yes.
Yes. So in order to stand on their toes, they have to do lots of different foot exercises. So in our feet, we've got muscles and bones, and they're called our metatarsals. And what they do is we do exercises to strengthen those muscles and those bones in their feet, so that when they go up onto their toes, their muscles are strong enough to hold them there. And also, you might have seen in that video that when they make their point shoes, they put them in the oven. So when they put them in the oven, the shoes get really hard, and they're like cement, they're super strong. So that as well helps the dancers to stay on point, because the back of their shoe is like rock solid, so that they don't fall backwards or fall forwards. So the shoe's hard and they've got strong feet, and that's how they manage to stand on their toes. Good question. Has anyone else got any questions?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
How do they jump on the air with their feet straight?
Yeah, good question. So those jumps, they have to split their legs, don't they? So within their ballet classes that they do exercises to help with those, so that they have supple muscles, the flexibility and the strength as well to do it.
Yes, we know. Are you a ballet dancer?
I trained as a ballet dancer, and now I'm a ballet teacher, so I teach other people how to do ballet. Good questions. Any other questions from anyone?
Excuse me.
Yes.
Can you please tell us how ballet dancers jump really high?
How they jump really high. They take lots and lots of practicing. So they need the strength in their legs. So they, in their ballet classes, for the last 30 minutes of every ballet class, they just do jumping. And they start off small, with we call petit allegro, so small jumps. Then they go to their grand allegro, which is their big jumps. So they practice it every day. And they use what we call our demi-plie. So they bend their knees, and the more strength they have in that demi-plie, in the bending of their knees, the higher they can jump off the floor. And their floor is a little bit like a trampoline, so it helps just to give them a little bit more elevation as well. But good question. Anyone else got any other questions?
Ma'am, how do they spin on the 120?
Good question. So that move, the spin, is called a pirouette. And that's when they stand on one foot and they spin around. And it's very tricky because they need to be able to balance on one leg. So if anyone's got any time over the next few days, try standing and balancing on one leg. And then you want to try balancing on right on the tips of our point of our foot. So once we get our balance, then we can start to turn as well. And you start off by doing one turn, and then you try 2 turns, and then 3, and you keep going until you can do as many turns as you can. But they're called pirouettes, and it takes a lot of practice. Good question. Anyone else got any questions?
Actually, do you keep all your weight only on the toes? Is
Yes.
it all?
Yes. So when they're in their point shoes, all of their weight is on their toes. Now you have something else, which is a softer shoe, and it's a bit like a sock. So it's not concrete like our point shoes. And it's what some of the ladies wear and the male dancers wear as well. And when they're in those shoes, they don't go right on the tips of their toes. Instead, they go on what we call demi points. It's when their toes are on the floor and they lift their heel and they stretch right underneath of their foot. So they're either like this on their demi point in their soft shoes, or they're up on their toes in their hard point shoes. Good question. Who else has got a question?
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, I want to ask how many days the ballet shoe need?
Say that one again.
How many the ballet shoe need this?
How many? Say it once more. I can't hear you quite clearly.
How many days the ballet shoe be?
How many days does it take to make? Good question. So it takes about 1 day to make. So they have 1 day where they make the shoe, and then when they go home at the end of the day, they cook them in the oven overnight. So they go into the oven, and then when they come back the next day, they're ready and to get finished off. So it takes about 24 hours to make 1 pair of shoes. But there's lots of different people making them at the same time. So if you're a big company, you need to make lots of shoes, you have lots of people making them at the same time. But yes, about 1 day. Good question. Anyone else? Yes.
Actually, does it support our health or benefit our health? Does ballet benefit any our health?
Yes, very good questions. It's got lots of benefits for our health. So it keeps us nice and fit because we have to have our good cardiovascular. So imagine if you've got to dance for 2 hours and then you've got to dance for a 3-hour performance. So it gets your heart rate going, so it keeps us nice and fit. It makes us nice and strong with our muscles as well, because all of these movements in our ballet take a lot of strength. Okay, so in order to do them, we need that fitness in our bodies to be able to achieve them. So it's got lots of benefits. Also, listening to the music and all of that as well helps our mental health. So it keeps us nice and relaxed. It keeps us focused and motivated as well. So it's got lots of benefits. And also watching ballet as well can have some benefits because it allows you to sit back and relax and enjoy the performance and get rid of any other thoughts that you've got in your head or any stresses. So it's got lots of added benefits. Doing ballet, watching ballet, everything. Good question. Anyone else?
Does ballet need flexibility?
Yes, so you need flexibility, you're right, and you need strength. So when you see the dancers lift their legs all the way up near to their heads, you need the flexibility, but you also need the strength to be able to hold it there. So it's like a 50-50. You want to be flexible, but you also want to be strong. Yes, good questions. Who's next?
Excuse me, ma'am. How are they standing on the toes, even though it's so pointed from the shoes?
Yeah, so they need that strength in their shoes. And what they do is they use what we call animal wool. So from a sheep or from an animal, they get some wool, like cotton wool, and they pop it on the ends of their toes, and it helps to stop them getting blisters and helps them to stand on their toes so it's not too sore. So in their shoes, they've got that animal wool all bunched up so that they don't get too many blisters, but they still do get some. Who's next?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
So you know how they wear the mask? How do they say the mask?
Good question. Yes, you might have seen there were some different masks in there. There was a big mouse head as well. So you can't see it when you're looking away, but they've got tiny, tiny little holes in the mask so that they can see out. It's not very clear, so it's hard to see, but there's lots of different holes in the mask so that they can see.
Ma'am?
Yes.
I'm a permanent ballet teacher.
Say that one again. What did you say? Sorry.
Are you our permanent ballet teacher?
I'm a ballet teacher, yes. So I teach children and I teach adults. I teach your head teacher how to do some ballet. But yes, so ballet can be for everyone and anyone. So anyone can enjoy ballet, anyone can learn ballet. And yeah, it can be enjoyed by everyone. So that's what I do, is I teach as many people that want to learn ballet. Who's next?
Excuse me. Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
I have a question. Does the ballet shoe help us to balance on our toe?
Yes, it does. So did you see in that video, once he made the first part of the shoe, he stood it up and it could balance by itself. So that's what they do. They test them to make sure that the shoe can balance on its toe by itself, so that it helps the dancers to also balance on their toes when they're wearing them.
Ma'am, now I have a question, and that's going to be the last question of the day, and rest all the other questions you can give it to your class teacher, and we will reach out to Miss Annabel Locke, and maybe we can get the responses from her through mail. So my last question for you, Miss Annabel Locke, is there an appropriate age when one can introduce themselves to ballet, or an old lady like me can also do ballet?
Yes, no. So you can start ballet at any age. The youngest would probably be about 2 or 3 years old for really little dancers. But no matter what, you can start ballet at any age. So you can start it when you're 10, 11, 12, when you're 30, 40, 50, 60. There's no age where you have to start ballet by. You can start it at any point in your life that you want to. All right. Excellent. Well done, everyone. You've behaved brilliantly. Very well behaved students, aren't you? But yes, if you've got any questions, give them to your teachers, and then they can send them over to me and I can give you some answers. All right.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. Thanks a lot. And it was such an enriching session. And I'm sure that our children today would have seen this form of dance and would benefit later in life. And definitely this has added color to the artistic skills. And with this, now I would like to invite our headmistress, ma'am, Ms. Jyoti Gupta, to address the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Annabel Locke. Well, when we were thinking of doing this, I couldn't think that this is going to be so informative. There are so many things that it has a great impact, especially how the shoe is made and what kind of commitment and dedication a ballet dancer has to show for being a dancer, and of course for a production, the kind of planning, thought process that is required. I must also tell you that we would be starting with our annual day, and this was kind of a right start And we are all now geared up with the right enthusiasm, and maybe from you taking inspiration, and we'll take it for our annual day. And thank you, Ms. Annabel, on behalf of DPS Monarch International School, and especially the cultural department and grade 5 team. I would like to extend my gratitude that you've taken our time from your hectic schedule. I know you've got back-to-back classes. I have seen your slots. You rarely get time to even sometimes pick up the phone, but coming here, giving our children so much time, my heartfelt gratitude to you. And definitely we will reach out to you with some more interesting questions. And hopefully once this, the school is of course functional 100% attendance, but we cannot gather all the children in an auditorium yet. But I'm hopeful one day this will also happen, and we will have you as our guest speaker in person in our auditorium. Thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you. And with this, we can end today's session. And thank you, Rajiv Das, and thank you, your team, for making this happen for us.
Thank you so much.